Today in the crypto space, we see a mix of green and red throughout the market. Bitcoin down approximately 1.5%, and Ethereum coming down to 1650 once again. The rest of the crypto space, the altcoins, are pretty much confused, waiting for Bitcoin to make some decisions. We have some gainers, we have some losers, and today, guys, we're going to be talking about the general market using Bitcoin as a leading indicator. But more importantly, I want to talk about one project that is being very, very bullish right now, and that project is called Octaspace. So you know what? Let's talk about the news. Let's analyze the charts, and let's strategize to capitalize. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mike, and let's get right into it, guys. If you're new to the channel, welcome. On the channel, we talk about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the altcoins, looking for opportunities. Whether we go up or down, bearish or bullish, all we want to do is stay one step ahead of the market so that we can capitalize on any of the volatility. And if you appreciate the strategy, subscribe to the channel and click that bell so you don't miss out on any of my future videos. Guys, if you want to follow me on the socials, the links are in the description below. Feel free to join that Discord, guys. A great community, lots of good alpha trade setups and fundamentals and all that good stuff. All right, guys, let's begin. Let's take a look at what's going on here with this market. Bitcoin coming down to lower levels, guys. You know, we could be getting some support very soon. Guys, I know that, I've been talking about getting Bitcoin to an overbought scenario and then shifting lenses, getting into a bearish perspective. I still feel like it's very healthy for us to think about Bitcoin getting overbought on the daily. If it doesn't get overbought, the possibility of it happening still exists, and going short right now still has its, its risks because of that, because we could get that impulse to the upside and get overbought. In the meantime, what should we be doing? Perhaps getting into lower time frames, perhaps getting defensive on any potential gains that you may have, especially on those altcoins, because if Bitcoin does come down to those lower levels, you're going to expect some of those alts to, basically take a beating, and you want to be able to walk away with some of those gains. So that's one of the things that we're going to be looking at today. Of course, Octaspace is one of those projects that is definitely in the green in the last little while, showing a lot of strength, but I want to be protective of the gains. So we're going to be talking about a strategy there, and of course, looking at Bitcoin as a leading indicator before we do that. Okay, so let's continue. Let's look at this general market here, guys. I'm going to start putting some projects on the list for tonight's live stream. And of course, if you have any projects you want me to cover on tonight's live stream, the best time and place to make those requests is, of course, live at 7:30 Eastern, where we talk about crypto news and price action. Let's continue here. What's going on here with this market? Dips throughout the market. We see Solana still holding strong, though, up approximately 1.7%. Still doing very, very well. Again, guys, be careful, because at some point, Solana, the party is going to end. That's the truth. The party will end. And of course, right now, Solana doing very well, up 24% in the last 7 days. That's healthy, double-digit gains for Solana. Okay, so if you're in some real gains, one of the major strategies right now is trailing up that stop loss. Putting yourself in some significant profits would be absolutely healthy and smart at this point. And of course, scraping off the top, taking a bit of profits is not bad of an idea, and leaving that position, the rest of the position with that stop loss in, to see if it continues going up is fine. But overall, what you're doing is you're protecting your gains by scraping off some profit and also trailing up the stop loss into some significant gains is not a bad idea. We have Solana up approximately 6.4% in the last 7 days, which is looking pretty good. This could be a bit of a dip here. I'm interested in seeing if this is, a consolidation for a continuation, or are we getting some follow through for as a bearish divergence and getting some follow through price action, confirming a lower high? If that's the case, guys, maybe a lower low, lower highs is in the works here for Cardano. And of course, if Bitcoin does come down, it's not looking like Cardano or any other alt for that matter is going to be able to withstand the effect of Bitcoin reaching to those bearish price targets that a lot of bears are talking about. We got to keep them in mind. That 20K price target for Bitcoin is still possible, and we'll talk about Bitcoin in a second. But you can see that, as these altcoins do come down, they're testing those lower levels. Bitcoin Cash coming down. Polkadot down a little bit. Polygon still holding strong here, looking for that breakout, 4.3% to the upside for Matic, looking really strong there. I'm wondering if we should pay attention. I'm going to put it on the list for tonight, Matic. And of course, I'll put the requests, your requests, in top priority. But right now, I'm going to start a little bit of a list here. Polygon Matic, I wouldn't mind taking a look. Chainlink coming down, a beautiful rejection, pullback at range highs pretty much. And that's what we've been talking about, taking care of those gains, guys, making sure that we can, put them away before the market retraces. And that's the name of the game, especially when you got a nice clear range like what Chainlink has been producing for the last 400 or 500 days. That's the truth. AVAX getting a bit of a pullback here. Are we going to reach those lows once again, getting a confirmation? That could be very possible. So we got to anticipate that those layer ones that have been bleeding out, trying to desperately hold up for support, are definitely in that same scenario, still trying to get into that accumulation phase of sideways price action and holding a good level of horizontal support. That's what we really want to see. And we're seeing a lot of these other projects like HBAR, unfortunately, coming down again at range lows. Guys, HBAR is bullish, no doubt. The community's strong, a lot of good bullishness with that, but we have a lot of other projects that are pretty much doing the very similar thing. Look at OKB down at the bottom of the range. Monero, I'm not really interested in privacy narrative, but nonetheless, Monero's at the bottom of the range as well. And the list goes on. MakerDAO getting a bit of a pullback, of course, but still up significantly overall, but getting a bit of a pullback in the last little while. Quant, guys, I want to talk about Quant. Definitely, I was thinking about doing a dedicated video today. Today's video was going to be on Quant, but unfortunately, Octaspace is giving it right now, is giving me a signal, and I want to make sure that we are prepared for this. What's going on with Octaspace right now? Octaspace is killing it, doing very well, but we got to make sure that we protect those gains. Quant, I think that we have time. There's no urgency there, so we're going to put it on the back burner until we find a great opportunity. And we can cover it live tonight at 7:30 for sure. I'll put Quant on the list. And we'll continue going down here. VeChain rolling over just a bit. Optimism getting a fat pullback down 4%. Near Protocol also coming down to lower levels. Caspa holding strong, sign of strength here as the market is dipping. It's going sideways. It is up approximately 10% in the last 7 days. So that's pretty good. But overall, guys, if we do not get a higher high here and we continue consolidating here and Bitcoin finally, comes down, Caspa's not going to hold up. Unfortunately speaking, Caspa will not be, no project in this matter will hold up against the bearishness of Bitcoin if Bitcoin does come down to those very negative levels. Now, I'm saying Caspa's gonna, collapse completely, but it's gonna retrace. It's gonna come down to levels of support, and that's the truth. And that's when we'll be pouncing right back in and buying the dip on Caspa. And so far, my exposure to Caspa is decent. So if the Caspa price decides to rocket to the top, I'm okay with that. And I've taken a significant amount of profit on my Caspa position to prepare for a dip scenario, so I could basically scale up my position with profits and also deploy a bit of my own capital to buy the dips as well. So overall, accumulating in both ways with profits and obviously cash on the side. What else do we have here? The graph pulling back, a lot of pullbacks throughout this market. Not much of a mover right now. Render still hovering around $1.70, a sideways price action, looking pretty good. BitGet doing the very similar thing. What else? Pullbacks, a lot of them throughout this market. Rollbit, 20% bounce to the upside, guys. Wow, what a nice move after a fat consolidation. It is now up approximately 50% in the last 7 days, guys. If you're up 50% on any project, protect yourself, take those gains, walk away, wait for the retracements, wait for the pullbacks. And I wouldn't mind taking a look at RLB tonight, of course, to see if we see any signs of potential weakness for profit taking. And right now, getting into fresh longs, absolutely not. Don't FOMO into the price action. 20% to the upside in 24 hours and 48 in the last 7 days is not an opportunity right now, guys. It's an opportunity to TP. Trail up stop losses, get defensive, not going aggressively long in an offensive position. Definitely not. All right, so let's continue here. What else do we have? Pullbacks. You can see that we do got a few little pumps to the upside. Gala Games continue to the upside. That's great for those of us that have scaled in just recently upon this dip. But I still feel that the majority of the market might be looking for a confirmation low. So we may have that opportunity to scale in once again. Maybe not as low as the previous low, but a little bit of a retracement so that we can get, number one, a confirmation, a higher low, but also an opportunity to buy the dip. So we'll pay attention there. There's no point of buying in a 20% pump on the last week, okay? 7 days, 20%, not the time to absolutely go long. What we can do is take a look at Gala tonight as well. Have a little list going already. And just as a reminder, guys, join me live tonight at 7:30 Eastern, and definitely put in those requests and I'll put them in top priority. We have a good dips throughout the market. Generally speaking, what we are seeing, the consensus is throughout this market is that we're dipping down. We've seen a bit of a rollover. We're seeing some reaching range lows. You can see that even Mina Protocol, Casper Network is pretty much there. Caitlin is almost there. Like, there's a few here that are rolling over and pretty much desperately trying to hold up support, guys. So let's see what happens. You know, if Bitcoin does break down, we're expecting more of a breakdown in the next little while, and we might get that fire sale for those altcoins. All right, guys, I know you're here to talk about charts. Let's begin our analysis. Let's begin by looking at Bitcoin. What's going on here with the Bitcoin price? We see that Bitcoin at the end of the day got a nice fat bounce to the upside, guys, and we are slowly attempting to get overbought on the daily. Okay, so far we're getting no indications that we're getting there. We are getting that confirmation of that bearish divergence that we talked about yesterday, guys. It's actually playing out, and you're going to see that ultimately sometimes speculating and kind of coming up with a plan to try to be one step ahead of the market definitely does play out. So let's look at this in a little bit more detail. Okay, so yesterday I made a dedicated video on Bitcoin. That was the strategy to try to, you know, ease some of the tension that we've had with this pump. We've been getting a strong pump, and then unfortunately, as I was recording the video, we were getting the negativity. We were actually getting the pullback as I was recording. So I thought I was going to be making a bullish video, but ultimately it ended up being somewhat bearish because the pullback was strong. We got a fat wick. We got a big pullback. We were seeing the price action come down. The altcoins were coming down while some of the altcoins were still doing good. But you can see that my overall consensus right now for Bitcoin is that would be nice to see Bitcoin price or the Bitcoin momentum get overbought. That for me is something that I really like, and I really get confident in the fact that if we see any signs of divergence, bearish divergence in this case, while the momentum is overbought, the likelihood is that we're going to see that the bears are going to lose their momentum, in this case the bulls, and we're going to see the bears step in and bring the price back down. So let's look at this. The daily right now got that pump to the upside, got a nice bounce off the 200 daily, which is nice, beautiful confirmation, nice break above, back test, and bounce. The momentum, we hung out in the chop zone for a few days. Great. We identified that. We were risk off in that point, and then all of a sudden we left the station once again, and we thought about, look, could we actually get overbought? And you can see here on the RSI, we didn't get there yet. Mean reversion play, totally, you know, in check. We came back down just to get closer back down to the yellow line. And that EMA right there is an indication of the mean. At the end of the day, we want to stay within the average. And you can see that as we were pumping up, we came back down to hit that yellow line, very close to it. Could we dip below it? Possible. Could we just get a bounce off of it? Very possible. But I do like this mean reversion. What I also want to bring to your attention is on the daily, we identified this potential bearish divergence. So far, it is definitely in play. It's kind of going there. We got two histogram clusters of histogram bars, green histogram bars. One cluster is tall, the other one is shorter, while the price action is upward sloping. We're seeing that these two clusters are coming down, which is giving me an indication that it's very possible that we're seeing a class A bearish divergence on these two peaks. Now, are we at resistance? That's the next question. A bit of a resistance, guys. You can see that the top of the volume gap definitely was hit, and if you look left, this was the consolidation that we got rejected off of. This was the breakout from the previous breakdown. Okay, we broke down, quick spike to the downside, consolidation, bullish divergence, which we identified really early in oversold conditions. This was the signal, the green arrow, and then all of a sudden, a nice pop to the upside. People on these ebb and flows of the price action were a little bit hesitant, and I stuck to my guns that we're looking for overbought, and eventually, this is where we're at. Can we actually get into the overbought scenario, extreme overbought scenario, above the 70% mark on the RSI? If that were to happen, I'm expecting a bit of an impulse, maybe getting to the golden pocket, which is at about 29,270, or even touching this trend line once again at the top of the volume gap, which you can see there's this big empty spot of volume, straight up price action, straight down price action, no supply and demand in the middle, means that there's a weak spot here. And it's very likely that maybe we come down, back test, get a bounce, and actually fill it up and get into this zone again and get to that confluent area at about 29,000 where the golden pocket is in the top of the volume gap, okay? And then we get overbought. That could be very possible. So the risk of going short right now is the fact that it could do that. And if it does do that while you're in a short position, you're going to get wrecked, including with the altcoins, because altcoins will rally up with Bitcoin if we get another impulsive move up. Okay, so let's be real about that. Now, what about getting into shorts right now? My opinion is getting into shorts is quite dangerous because of that. Now, the only thing that you could do is get into lower time frames. Let's get onto the 4-hour. The 4-hour right now is not giving us any signs of bearish divergence. The only thing that we got on our edge right now on the 4-hour is that we're exiting extremely overbought scenarios on the 4-hour. But it doesn't give us any signal of divergence, which means that maybe we get to come back up, get a confirmation high, a double top, even a higher high, and reach that golden pocket, which is right here at, again, 29,200, give or take. This is the golden pocket 618 level. I'm going to show you what I mean right at this confluence with this cluster of supply and demand. And right here, golden pocket between the 618 and the 0.65, okay, golden pocket zone. If we get there, that's where, or right around this area, that's where we most likely will get a bit of a higher high. If we're going to get a back test of the momentum, create a lower high on momentum. Let me get my pencil marks in so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. Where's my pen marks? Where's my pen? Right here. If we get a bit of a bounce here on momentum, make a lower high, very possible. Okay. And then, chop around in the chop zone and get oversold. If that were to happen, it's very likely, it's very possible that we either make a double top, even a slightly higher high, and then get that rollover. Well, the beauty behind this is that we're, maintaining the trend, but we are creating a bearish divergence, class A bearish divergence at good levels of resistance, previous price action, top of the volume gap, right? And then from here, we might get, a confirmation high, a lower high, and then what does it start to look like? Head and shoulders, shoulder, head, shoulder, and follow through price action all the way to oversold, makes us come back down to the bottom of the range, and we don't know how low we're going to go at that point. It's very possible that we actually break the previous low. You never know. We're going to come back to 25K, and then let's see, keep our fingers crossed that Bitcoin holds up, and if it does, great, and if it doesn't, we're coming down to those bearish price targets. Okay, so that's my take on Bitcoin. I know I'm far-fetched right now. I mean, I'm very forward-thinking, but it's good to kind of keep these things in mind, because it's possible that this happens, given the fact that the daily is almost already overbought. The 4-hour is showing us that we are pretty much exiting overbought scenario, and a pullback to the upside as a confirmation is still very possible. So let's keep all of this in mind in the immediate short term. The MACD facing down, red histogram bars to the downside, not looking good, looking still bearish, and this is the name of the game here, guys. The only thing is that we're waiting for bearish divergence with a confirmation high, and then we'll get those signals to go short or take profit or get defensive at the end of the day with your gains, and that's the way we do it. All right, guys, let's talk about Octaspace. Guys, such a bullish project, Definitely. I'm liking Octaspace. Before we look at the price action, I just want to let you know that I did do a deep dive on Octaspace a while back. I'm going to try to scroll through this real quick to find it, but I do deep dives every Sunday where I talk about fundamentals. Any given project. Guys, if you want to vote on the project that you want me to do this Sunday, feel free to join the Discord. I have a section there where you can let me know and chime in which project I should be covering. But I did do Octaspace really, really early on into this, little rally that we've been experiencing, and the fundamentals were actually decent, very, very decent. And after the fundamentals, after the deep dive, I was covering the price action, insinuating that maybe it was a good time to consider the price action some bullish opportunity. Deep dive on Octaspace, I did it about a month ago. Decent video. Go check it out. Lots of good detail about the project itself. Still very relevant. Okay, so let's look at the price action. What's happening here? Now, we did come down, decent retracement. Let's get into the daily quickly, and I'm just going to bring to your attention that a lot of projects did this. Okay, got to a nice retracement level, did not get oversold, and got a nice bounce. And for me, that was a scenario where, look, we basically got good signals, bullish divergence, good level of horizontal support, right within my green arrows, and we started getting signs of a bit of a rollover, given the fact that the MACD was getting an EMA cross, green histogram bars to the upside, bullish divergence both on the MACD and the RSI, double bullish divergence here on both indicators, was leading me to believe like, hey, maybe this is not a bad time to scale in. So look at this. Now, we on this horizontal level, this was the DCA opportunity. Now, let's pretend that you were able to DCA into both, and your average position was about 33 cents. Guys, right now, you're in some decent gains. Let's make a measurement. Right in the middle, about 33 cents, give or take, to where we are right now, you're up 70%. Great gains, almost double digit, almost doubling your money. Basically, taking half on the double is not a bad idea, but we're almost there. Now, are you going to take that chance? Are you going to take the chance that you're going to want to get this thing to take 100% gains from your entry if you happen to get this average entry? The reality is taking a bit of profits right now is not a bad idea. Why? Look at the volume gap. Look at the support, the resistance that you have looking left. Tops. Both of these two tops have a significant volume that needs to be protected, liquidity that needs to be protected at this point. The bears are going to want to step in here and get this thing to reverse at any moment now. Now, if we don't get that to happen, if we don't get that reversal, you can see that we have a bit of a volume gap here that's a bit deep. That's why I put an overlay of this red box, and then above it, let me kind of scooch this over. You can see that yeah, we kind of get back out. It's still a weak spot, not much happening in comparison to here, but it's very likely that we get a reaction at this point. Now, it's just probability, so exiting your entire position is quite risky, because you're going to lose out on the opportunity that if it does continue going up, you're not going to have a position. So I wouldn't exit completely. I'm prepared personally. I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. I am prepared to take half my position here and trail up my stop loss a little bit higher, just in case we roll over. Okay, a stop loss at about 44 cents is decent. We have the previous lows around this level, and a backtest of this level will potentially come down and hunt liquidity and check out people for diamond hands if they're holding, and if not, you know, of course, we'll get capitulations and all of that kind of stuff. So right now we see that the daily is trying to get overbought, and that's the risk that you're taking too much profit right now, is that it could get overbought and maybe get to about 65-66 cents. That would be my next target at the top of this volume gap, right? Which is the majority of the weakness right here, a very weak spot. So if we do break out and we continue, in fact, we're going to be making a higher high, a local high, higher local high. This high right here will be breaking a bit of structure, which for me is a good thing. If you're Octa bull right now, it's because you're going to be breaking structure to the upside, which is great. And then upon the back test, if we could create a higher low, not only do you make a higher high, but you're making higher lows, which means now you've created a new trend. This was the pivot point. Higher highs, higher lows. We're basically going to the upside here. So what I would be doing right now is getting very defensive, but it might be a little bit too early to get superly aggressive on your defensive strategy, because again, we could get completely overbought. So be careful. You're up significantly. You're up 70% if you happen to get into these green arrows, and this is where you need to get defensive and protect the gains. Let's get into the 4-hour quick. You can see that the 4-hour is definitely overbought. This is where you're going to start to say, look, I might want to get into lower time frames to see what's happening in the lower time frame, so I can try to pinpoint my exits a little bit better. There's class A bearish divergence happening right now. It's not completely confirmed, because we would like to see this structure on the momentum make a lower low. Fine, but you know what? It looks pretty good that this thing is going to get confirmed. Why? Because look at the price action. Higher highs on the price action, lower highs on the RSI, lower highs on the MACD. We're getting, you know, confirmation on look at the EMAs. And also the histogram bars so far are slightly downward sloping. Okay, I'm going to zoom in a little bit, see if I can make this a bit better. And you can see that this cluster of histogram bars is a slightly higher than the current one. So as long as we maintain this current structure where we're making higher highs on the price action and lower highs on the momentum oscillators, the divergence is still here at good levels of previous resistance, which is this top and the volume gap, giving you that confirmation. Okay, so this is something to consider here, guys. Now, what I'm wondering also is, if we do get a rejection here, how low can we go? It all depends on Bitcoin. If we get a rejection here, it's very likely it's because Bitcoin's pulling down the market. And usually this is what happens. The altcoins follow Bitcoin's lead. It's all about liquidity. Bitcoin's going to suck the liquidity. The FUD is going to totally bring down the market, and people are going to get risk off in that case, because Octaspace is low cap. Octaspace doesn't have a track record like large caps, mid caps, or, you know, blue chip altcoins, and those are the ones that are generally less volatile. So they basically start saying risk off, take profit, exit positions on riskier assets, and unfortunately Octaspace is one of them because of the low cap scenario, right? So in this case, if Bitcoin does come down hard, you're going to expect a lot of the low cap altcoins to bleed out against Bitcoin. Okay, so I'm hoping that they at least hold up sideways, especially the bullish one. So stay within range, maybe come down to previous lows and consolidate here while Bitcoin takes a beating, if Bitcoin takes that beating. Because right now, I feel like Bitcoin, is going to want to come back down and reach those range lows once again at about 25K. Could be very possible. In the next couple of days, we're going to see if Bitcoin gets overbought. We might get another impulsive move on alts, but then ultimately, if Bitcoin rolls over and comes down to lower levels, expect that 25K Bitcoin. And if it doesn't hold there, expect these altcoins, particularly the low caps, including Octaspace, to come down to range lows. And look at this volume gap that we got waiting down here, guys. I hate to say it, but it's very possible that Octaspace, if that happens to Bitcoin, it comes back and revisits these levels at about 30 cents, give or take. Okay, so that's what I'm interested in right now, is protecting my gains, because I'm currently up 70% plus as we're speaking. This thing's pumping up a little bit. And I definitely don't want to give back any of my profits to the market. I want to walk away profitable, and that's something that you want to do as well. All right, guys, if I've offered you any value in this video, do the channel a massive favor and slap that like button. It does really help out with the algorithm. And of course, I'm live tonight at 7:30 Eastern, where we talk about crypto news and price action. Make sure to join and make those requests, and I'll put them in top priority. If you want to follow me on the socials, the links are in the description below. Feel free to join the Discord, guys. Great community, lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and all that good stuff. Take care, have a good one, and don't forget, buy the dip.